Hi there, Gene here with today's thought. Actually, two thoughts. So the first thought relates to a video I made only recently. Could have been just yesterday, my aging brain, who remembers. But it was about Marjorie Taylor Greene's idea for a national divorce for the red states and blue states to go their separate way. And I said that wasn't a practical idea, it was not a good idea, but that there was a germ of a good idea there, which would be for the existing states to split and either so that the conservative parts, well, you have, say, in New York, Manhattan, very large population, and they outvote the whole rest of the state. So the upper part of the state, upper New York, is much more conservative than Manhattan, but they're stuck with the policies that basically the Upper West Side of New York wants to pursue or enact. And I had mentioned that Oregon, they actually are considering that because the eastern part of Oregon wants to split away, wants to secede from Oregon and become part of next door Idaho. Idaho is a more conservative state. Portland, Oregon, Antifa, very, very liberal, and they're seriously considering it. The reason I bring it up again today is in Atlanta. Now, we were talking about state splitting, but there's a wealthy suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, called Buckhead. Wealthy, Elton John lives there. That's how exclusive and wealthy it is, and they're a part of. They're a suburb of Atlanta, so they're part of Atlanta, and they're sick of the crime and the governance, and they want to secede, and they want to be their own city of Buckhead. So I just wanted to mention that this is an idea that it's actually catching on, that people want to, it's being considered, and I personally think it's a good idea. Now on to the main subject, which might actually be briefer than this introductory subject that I just got done with, but the Supreme Court, I mentioned this in a recent video, could have been yesterday, my aging brain, who remembers, but about the student loan forgiveness. And, well, part of the arguments of this case, actually of many Supreme Court cases, is trying to determine what Congress meant when Congress passed a certain law. What did they mean? And I had gone through that in a certain amount of detail. So my idea today, if there's anybody in Congress listening, is why don't you consider that when you pass the law, maybe put a preamble, just as we have in our Constitution, but a preamble, an introductory paragraph saying, this is what we mean by this law that we're about to pass. This is to whom it applies. For instance, in the HEROES Act about the student loan thing, it's pretty clear to me, as I mentioned yesterday, that it applies to military personnel, soldiers who, due to some emergency, cannot repay student loans, or veterans, put it that way. I think it's veterans. The point is that if Congress had said, it's obvious in the act, it's called the HEROES Act, but what if Congress, when they wrote the law, said at the very beginning, we intend this law to apply only to military veterans, let's say, and this law is not to be construed to apply to anybody who is not a veteran. That it would help the Supreme Court, and would help the rest of us, and it would avoid a lot of ridiculous court cases, because Congress would have made its intent clear when they passed the law, so clearly that there could be no mistaking about what Congress meant. And that's my thought for today. So thanks as always for stopping by. Really appreciate it. And if you find my thoughts interesting, maybe you could subscribe. And I hope, subscribe or not, that I hope to see you all again. Bye.